the most mysterious places on the planet, which is shrouded in mysticism, scandals, and the attention of millions of believers, the Vatican, the center of global dominance of the multi-million religion of Catholicism. But what is hidden behind these walls? Now, we will delve into the symbolism of the Vatican and perhaps reveal some secrets that have been right in front of you. The Vatican is located on Vatican Hill, which, according to one version, received its name in honor of the Etruscan goddess of death, Vetica. In this place, there used to be the Circus of Nero, where, as a spectacle for the people and the emperor, the first followers of Christ died a painful death, torn apart by wild animals. The Vatican sits on the bones of the early Christians, making it a symbolic place on its own. But this is just the beginning of our tour. Let's take a close look at the Vatican Audience Hall. Do you notice anything strange? The building resembles a sinister reptilian head. Interestingly, in the Bible, the serpent symbolizes cunning and deceit. But what is even more bizarre is the absence of Christian symbolism in this hall. Instead, there is a sculptural composition called the Resurrection on the stage, which resembles more of a depiction of hell. Doesn't that seem strange to you? Now, let's move on to the Pope's attire. It is worth noting that it's tailored in the only tailor shop which is inherited through generations. Each detail is meticulously crafted. There is no room for coincidence here. Have you ever paid attention to the details of the attire of the popes? You can see numerous details and symbols on the festive attire. For instance, the pallium is adorned with 6 dark crosses, 3 of which are pierced with gold pins. They symbolize the 3 nails with which Jesus was crucified on the cross. But what about the chasuble? On one of the chasubles of Pope Paul V, you can see an inverted cross, which is associated with the symbolism of the cross on which the first pope, Peter, was crucified. However, the inverted cross is also a symbol of Satanists. Doesn't this remind you of the ceremonial attire of magicians? And that's not all. One of Pope Francis's chasubles, you can also see a symbolic depiction of extraterrestrials from the Atacama Desert's geoglyphs. What higher Christian message is he conveying to us through this symbolism? We are told that the Pope wore the chasuble with this symbol in honor of his visit to Chile. But something doesn't add up here, because he wore this chasuble on other occasions as well. Let's also pause and talk about the spiral triangle that can be seen on several chasubles of pontiffs. This is a symbol of the international boy lover movement. Pedophiles, lovers of boys. Considering the numerous scandals and testimonies associated with pedophilia in the Catholic Church, seeing such a symbol on the Pope's attire does not seem like a random coincidence at all. Pope Benedict's red shoes caused outrage among parishioners. However, he refuted rumors that they were Prada shoes, stating that he wears on his feet the blood of Christ. Just think of it. The Pope wears the blood of the Son of God on his feet. An indispensable element of the Pope's attire is the ring of the fisherman. This ring is meant to remind the Pope of his heritage, that he is the successor of the Apostle Peter, who was a fisherman by profession. But let's not forget that Peter was the one who betrayed Jesus at the most critical moment, denying his association with him 3 times out of fear for his own life. It was not just betrayal, it was a rejection of Jesus himself and his teaching. Every time a new pope ascends to the throne, he must put his lips to his new ring as a sign of humility and readiness to continue the mission of Peter. But once again, we hear about the continuation of the mission of Peter rather than that of Jesus. This makes us wonder, what are the values that are conveyed through the ring of the fisherman? Some time ago, during liturgical ceremonies, popes would wear a tiara. It is a headpiece adorned with various symbols. Originally, the tiara consisted of 2 levels, symbolizing the Pope's secular and spiritual authority. Later, a 3rd level was added. The 3 levels on the papal tiara symbolize his supremacy over the entire world. On the papal tiara, the title Vicarius Filii Dei is inscribed, which is translated from Latin as Vicar of the Son of God. In Latin, as well as in Greek, certain letters have numerical values. Researchers have noted that if you add up the numerical values of the letters in this title, the result is the number 666. This even sparked a scandal. Defenders of the Pope claimed that there was simply a grammatical error in the word vicarius. They argued that the correct record of this word would be vicarious, because the Latin language does not have the ending vs, but there is an ending us. Sort of, it was a mistake made by the ancients who didn't differentiate between the letters V and U. However, despite asserting that it was just a harmless grammatical error, no one seems to be rushing to correct it. The Pope's staff also has a symbolic meaning. It is interesting to mention that the Pontiff Paul VI made changes to the design of the papal cross. He was the first to use a staff with a curved crucifix and a distorted figure of Christ. This cross has been passed on to all subsequent popes, including Francis. According to former Catholic priest Pierre Compton, such crosses were used by black magicians of the Middle Ages to represent the biblical concept of the mark or sign of the beast, and they represent an ancient satanic symbol. This raises questions about the role this symbol plays in modern church symbolism and its true origin and meaning. Let's also pay attention to the coats of arms of the Catholic clergy. Does it remind you of anything? Perhaps a UFO?